Hello and welcome to our Sunday evening's edition of Arirang News. I'm Daniel Che here to provide you with the latest. Seoul's Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se is expected to hold bilateral talks on Sunday with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the sidelines of a series of ASEAN-related meetings in Laos. The two are expected to discuss North Korea's continuous missile and nuclear threats, as well as the deployment of the U.S. missile defense system known as THAAD to South Korea, which China opposes. The Chinese foreign minister arrived in the Laotian capital of Vientiane together with North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho on Sunday, not long after South Korea's top diplomat added. Ri and a delegation of North Korean officials had no comments for reporters at the airport, but did appear to nod when asked if he plans to meet with his Chinese counterpart on the sidelines. All three ministers will attend the ASEAN Regional Forum on Tuesday, a 27-member meeting on security issues and the only such event that North Korea attends regularly. And moving on to another story, South Korea's biggest companies have not been so big when it comes to creating new jobs. According to research firm Jebel.com, the nation's top five, Samsung, Hyundai Motor, SK, LG, and Lotte, have seen their combined assets grow to around $817 billion as of last year. From 3 years earlier, that's a spike of more than 15%. The Big Five have also expanded their influence in sales and net profit among Korea's 30 largest companies, now accounting for more than 61% of all sales. But their contribution to employment has not grown proportionally. Since 2012, the five major players have increased their workforce by only 5.1%, and among the top 30, they account for less than 58% of employment, the same proportion as in 2012. In contrast, the other 25 groups boosted their employment by 5.2%. Incheon International Airport is setting new records in traffic as the number of summer vacationers flying in and out of the nation approaches its peak. Korea's main gateway has already broken its previous single-day record set in February at 881,000 passengers. This Sunday so far, it's over 189,000, and according to Incheon International Airport Corporation, that record won't stand for long. They anticipate more than 190,000 passengers to come through the facility on July 31st. These numbers reach their yearly peak between July 16th and August 15th, when the airport is used by a daily average of more than 174,000 travelers. Turning over to the United States, Republican National Convention is over, and now it's the Democrats' turn in the spotlight. Hillary Clinton will officially become the party's presidential nominee, of course, and our Kim Hye-sung has the latest on the race for the White House.
Hillary Clinton will make history at the upcoming Democratic National Convention, becoming the first female presidential nominee of a major American political party. The Democratic National Convention kicks off at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia on Monday at 3 p.m. local time and wraps up on Thursday with a speech from Mrs. Clinton herself outlining her vision for the country. Democrats from all over the U.S. will gather in the city of brotherly love, also known as the birthplace of democracy, to support Clinton and her newly announced running mate, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine. Throughout the convention, the Democratic Party will announce their campaign pledges and policies, and they hope bring reluctant supporters of Clinton's primary challenger, Bernie Sanders, into the fold. Big names like Michelle Obama and Mr. Sanders will appear for the opening night festivities billed as United Together. Former President Bill Clinton will close out night 2, along with a group called Mothers of the Movement, made up of women who have lost their children in police-related shootings. President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden will deliver keynote speeches on night 3, followed by Hillary Clinton with her acceptance speech on the final night. Also appearing will be Clinton's celebrity supporters, including singers Katy Perry and Alicia Keys. Soon-to-be vice presidential candidate Senator Tim Kaine, a Harvard-educated civil rights lawyer and a former National Party chair, will also give a prime-time address. But once the confetti is cleared away and the delegates return home, the real game begins. The general election showdown with Donald Trump. Kim Hye-sung, Arirang News.
The International Monetary Fund is expecting a positive outlook for the Korean economy, and it seems internal reports are also raising Korea's GDP growth forecast for next year. This comes despite the IMF cutting its expectations for global growth rates. Kwon Jang-ho has the numbers and more.
For the first time in 2 years, the IMF is raising its growth forecast for the Korean economy. That's according to Korea's finance ministry, which revealed the details of an IMF report that coincided with the G20 finance ministers meeting held in China on Friday and Saturday. The report forecasts Korea's economy to grow 3% in 2017, up 0.1 percentage points from its official World Economic Outlook report released in April. The growth outlook for this year stood at 2.7%. Ministry officials cited the government's expected decision to approve a supplementary budget as a major contributing factor. The ministry expects the numbers to stay the same in the IMF's next official outlook report due in October. Sunday's report is in addition to an outlook update released on Tuesday that cut the global economic growth rate by 0.1 percentage points for 2016 and 2017, primarily due to Britain's decision to leave the European Union.
The United Kingdom's June 23rd vote to leave the European Union adds downward pressure to a world economy at a time when growth has been slow amid an array of pre-existing risks.
The UK's forecast was slashed by almost 1 percentage point for 2017 to 1.3% growth, and the outlook has been reduced for the rest of Europe and Japan as well. But the IMF said the impact in other areas remain limited, with the US, Canada and emerging economies seeing minimal change. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
In other parts of our world, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has signed a decree extending the period that some suspects in the recent coup attempt can be detained. As of Saturday, the maximum period authorities can hold suspects before charging them is extended to 30 days from 4, a move criticized by human rights groups. It also orders the closure of institutions suspected of having ties to Fethullah Gulen, the U.S.-based cleric accused of masterminding the failed coup. Gulen, however, denied any prior knowledge of the attempted takeover. The closures would affect more than 1,000 private schools and 1,200 foundations and charities. Those include 35 medical institutions, 19 unions, and 15 universities. The government argues the measure is necessary to prevent further unrest and insists it will only target those immediately associated with the plot. But there are concerns the crackdown has been widened to root out all potential sympathizers of Gulen's movement. Islamic State militants claimed responsibility for a suicide bombing in Kabul, Afghanistan on Saturday that killed at least 80 people and left more than 230 injured. If the claim is true, that would be the group's first attack in the Afghan capital. The bombing targeted a peaceful protest in Kabul where thousands of the country's Shia Muslim minority gathered in opposition to a new power line which they say bypasses the provinces where many of them live. According to the Afghan Interior Ministry, the coordinated attack involved 3 suicide bombers. One bomb was detonated, a second exploded prematurely, and a third bomber was shot dead by police. The attack is the deadliest to hit Kabul in 15 years. A dose of potentially harmful radiation is a risk we take sometimes when visiting the doctor for an X-ray or CAT scan, but now there's a way to dramatically reduce exposure to these rays while getting an even more accurate picture of medical patients. Park Se-young shares with us the breakthrough discovery by a team of Korean researchers.
With more and more people in Korea getting regular health checkups, statistics show that each person now gets about 5 radiographs a year. Unfortunately, research shows that X-rays and CT scans make up the majority of Koreans' annual radiation dose. Now, a team of Korean researchers has developed a new imaging method that's expected to allay such concerns. With the current method, radiation is emitted when the X-ray machine lights up, but the filament in the X-ray tubes leaves behind an unnecessary amount of radiation and increases exposure. The new method uses carbon nanotubes, which digitally generate an accurate amount of light, reducing radiation exposure by up to 1/10 that of the existing method.
The X-ray switches on and off more quickly, and the X-ray source and detector become synchronized, reducing unnecessary irradiation time and radiation exposure.
In addition to providing better image quality, the new method also reduces the number of moving parts, allowing for the miniaturization of devices. Once commercialized, the research team expects the technology will not only be applied to medical devices, but to a variety of fields, including heritage research and airport security. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Over the years, Korean filmmakers have shown their strength in the genres of romance, history, action, and psychological thrillers. Well, now we can add to that list Zombie Apocalypse. The new film Train to Busan has set Korea's all-time record for the most watched movie at cinemas in a single day. According to box office figures from the Korean Film Council, on Saturday alone, Korea's most highly anticipated summer flick sold more than 1.28 million tickets to beat the previous record holder, Roaring Currents. Only in its fourth day of release on Saturday, Train to Busan had been seen by more than 4.1 million people. Director Yeon Sang-ho's latest effort depicts a group of passengers trying to escape a mysterious virus while on board a train bound for Busan, a southern port city that has, in the film, reportedly fended off a nationwide outbreak. And now the weather before we go. Another scorcher awaits on Monday if you are in Korea. Inland areas can expect some showers in the evenings. And temperature-wise, Seoul, Gwangju, and Jeju will all start the day at 25 degrees Celsius. The mercury will rise all the way to 32 in the capital, the City of Lights, as well as the southernmost island. And now let's check out the weather conditions in your neck of the woods and around the world. That's our newscast for this hour. Thank you for watching. More coming your way at 10 p.m. Korea time.